I will say, of course, it is important for us to take a step back and to reflect that today is September 11th, the anniversary of the worst terrorist attack on American soil in the history of this great country. And those of us who were alive, those of us who were here that day, those of us who remember that day, remember the mix of emotions, the fear, the uncertainty, and then the incredible moment when that paved the way to beautiful unity and beautiful achdus and a sense of shared mission and purpose to really bring light to a world that was filled with so much darkness. We saw the worst of humanity on September 11th, and then in the response, Baruch Hashem, through all the first responders, through the bravery, through the heroism, through the incredible courage that people had to rebuild afterwards, we saw the best of humanity. And it brought us together. It caused the war. We went to war afterwards to try to stamp out evil in faraway countries that most of us never even heard of before. And I think it's important that this year, and we have to get to the dot, but it's overwhelming then that yesterday, September 10th, we see an act of political assassination. And whatever the circumstances around Charlie Kirk's assassination, the horrific event of a 31-year-old father of two. I don't care what his political affiliations are, what his political views are, who he was as a commentary, who he was as a friend of the president. It's irrelevant. But the fact that an act like that, a barbaric act of cowardice, could happen right on Erev September 11th, it feels that unfortunately, as a country, as a nation, we have not yet internalized the lessons of how hate rips us apart, how hate tears us apart. And there's clearly so much work that we have to do as a nation. As Jews, obviously our collective heart beats in Eretz Yisrael, but we are privileged to be citizens of this great land, which has given us so much and afforded us so many rights and opportunities. And it's heartbreaking sometimes to see the chaos that feels like society has descended into. Granted, it's the actions hopefully of just one person, and it doesn't represent anything else. But sometimes when things occur in your home, it is reflective of what is happening in your home, right? When your children go to school and they act a certain way, you get a phone call from the teacher, little Chaim, little Rivki, went ahead and said this word. And sometimes you have to wonder, where do they hear that word from? Or they act in a certain way, where do they hear that word from? This happened in our home. This happened in our home. And as a result, it's going to behoove us to engage in this season of introspection, to engage in tremendous national introspection, to understand what are we doing as a nation. In the aftermath of September 11th, we saw the best of our people, the best of this nation. Do you remember the images? We saw police officers, firefighters, first responders running into collapsing buildings to save people they did not know. We saw people digging through rubble for days and weeks afterwards in a hope to find survivors. We felt the tremendous unity afterwards. And what happened? That was the best. That was the best. The best of the United States of America. And then what we saw yesterday, whatever it is, whatever the narrative is the worst. Is the worst. Is the worst. So we have to there's going to be a cheshbon hanefesh, a tremendous cheshbon hanefesh, as a nation, as individuals. But at least today on September 11th, we hope that the neshamas of all those who perished in the terror attack, Shemir Hashem have an aliyah, their families in nechama, those who so heroically rushed in to save their fellow Americans, those neshamas, Shemir Hashem should have an aliyah, their families in nechama. Chodesh Baruch Hu should Emir Hashem not only shower His providence upon Eretz Yisrael, our ancestral homeland, but Emir Hashem should help to give the leaders of this country light, moral clarity, strength, and wisdom to be able to get this nation back on the rails. And Emir Hashem be able to allow us to appreciate and to discover all that is great about the United States of America. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Emir Hashem, continue to shower His bracha upon this great country and all of her citizens. And I will say, with that,